Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is One Day Today, episode 111, and we're in a new year, and it's a whole new frontier. And me personally still feel I'm getting complete on last year, but we had an amazing event. We have some really big plans this year, and I'm excited about our guest today. We have with us Christi Corradi, and she's going to share part of her excerpts. I have her book, but she's going to share an excerpt from her book. Um, but I had a conversation with Christy a couple weeks ago, and I'm really she'll introduce herself, and her story will speak for itself. But I'm what we were having a conversation before we just started the show here. You know, something that we were talking about, and that I feel this is what one day is, but this is where I see Christy is also up to is like, why do we wait to do the things that are important to us? Why, it's like, why wait for tomorrow? And we ask ourselves the question, what can I do in this big old world? I'm just one person. And like, you know, those like two thoughts are in my life have been the most limiting beliefs. What can I do? I'm just one person. And, and that can wait. And it's like, the reality is, no matter what color, what creed, what we believe, what we don't believe, who we pray to or don't pray to, you know, ultimately those things don't make a difference. But I would assert, no matter who you are, you have something unique that lights you up beyond belief. That, but that is something that lifts others up and brings others closer to themselves. And I imagine a world that everyone is living there in what lights them up and how they can contribute to others. And we all have a choice right now to do that or not to do that. And you know i I can't predict the future, but I would my projection is, if we choose not to do that, then that's more of the same of these old conversations of waiting for the world to just work and for our lives to work, for us to be doing the things that light us up and that lift others up. Why do we have to wait? And I think that I think Christy will chime in about this as well. But there's a hint, like one little hint to the answer there is like, we don't. We don't have to wait. We can do something in every moment. We can plant any seed, whether it's something small or something big. You could literally plant a flower to just make your space more beautiful. You could literally go out of your way to just be kind to somebody and see how them giving them joy actually brings you joy. And it's something that we always have, and when we're always in our minds and in the chaos of the rat race of life, we forget that. I forget that. And that's why one day is today. We all have a choice right now to plant those seeds of love and laughter and wonder and beauty for another. Well, happy New Year, everybody. Hope you all have enjoyed your time. And it's currently snowing here in Nashville, but let me welcome in the totally opposite weather pattern right now, Matthew, our co-host in Hawaii, where I'm sure it's not snowing, or possibly is it snowing there?
Not no. There's snow up on the mountain right now, but it's yeah. It's not actively snowing anywhere on the island. Total opposite isn't even doesn't even begin to describe it. Like this is
I
this
remember
is
when
a
I first heard about
drastic
Hawaii.
opposite.
I didn't know that it
Oh,
snowed. I was in Hawaii. I didn't know it snowed there, but it does snow in Hawaii. It just only in
it
one
does.
particular
Like this
spot.
is one of the few places in the world you can wake up in the morning, go skiing, and go down and go scuba diving at night. Like
That sounds like what I want. Maybe that's something I got to do today.
it's crazy, man. Like this isn't a place for everybody. It's not like yeah, it's paradise, but it's only paradise for those who make it paradise. Like, there's plenty of people here who this is a living hell for them, and as far as I can tell, those people like it doesn't matter where they are, everywhere's going to be a living hell. And for
Well,
me,
I
like I
think
finally
that's
got to the
true. That's
place.
true, micro and macro, and in all
Yeah,
our lives. It's like, I mean, they say the adage "life's what you make it." I feel like is an adage for a reason. And the Henry Ford quote: "Whether you believe it, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right either way." And it's like we
ex-
project those things.
exactly. And that kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier. Is like why wait? And
Mm.
to me, like yeah, that is a useful question. I ask myself that a lot, but the question I really come to is more like what's stopping me, is that's where I find like even if it's something as simple as like getting up and doing the dishes, to have a cleaner kitchen, which I know makes me feel better. Like I feel better having a cleaner kitchen, and yet there are plenty of times where I'll be sitting on the couch reading a book or watching TV or going through my Twitter feed or whatever, and like even though I know I feel bad right now, and I know getting up and cleaning the kitchen will help me feel less bad, I still don't want to do it. And like it's those moments I haven't gotten to the root of that one yet. Like that's one I'm still actively looking at as I speak. Like that's one that I'm still like I will get up and do it eventually. It may take me 15, 20 minutes longer than it normally would, but like what's stopping me? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that feeling of like ugh, I don't it's just like this I don't even know how to name it. I don't have a name for it yet. I just
Mm-hmm.
ugh is kind of what it is.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's those like little things, it's those little things that sneak into our habits and our, where I avoid taking responsibility in my life are like it's like my identity. I'll avoid even looking at the impact, and it's like, well, I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. I don't I don't
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. I don't.
Like I like oh yeah, avoiding looking at the impact is like that's a huge one. I like I know what the impact is. I just don't want to admit it to myself half the time. And so I just ignore it and I bury my head in a book or the news or whatever. Like anything I can to distract myself from admitting that like I'm causing myself pain right now.
It's true.
And it's the
And
weirdest thing. Like it doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't.
But I do it all
And
the time.
well, I think it's the most important thing. I mean, it seems like an oversimplification, and I think it's not the only thing, but I think the main thing to do is to notice and to be present, because
Yeah.
at a certain point in time, I can pretend that if I eat ice cream every day that I'll be healthy, and I can, I can pretend that, or I can pretend that anything I can imagine, I will stand in that distraction, and as opposed to looking at really I'm making my bed, and and I made it that way. But I think I want to now I really want to welcome our guest today. I was really excited to have her. Please welcome to the stage, Christi Corradi.
Hi, I just
Hi,
want to jump
Christy.
in on that conversation.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for being here, Christy. Do you want to chime in on? I know, like, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier was why I said that, but if you want to chime in before you share from your book.
Well, they were in the moment, so now you would have to say the whatever again for me to
Yeah.
remember.
Well,
But no, well, actually, it's gravity. Matthew, you were saying, what is it that keeps me from getting up off the couch? And it's gravity. And it's the same way with why don't we move forward in life and so forth. We don't use and understand the principles of life, right? And
mhm,
and I mean, as a baby you didn't know gravity and how to use it, but you learned it. And so one of the things that I really do in my work is I teach the universal principles. And so there are certain laws, law of sacrifice. I always love to mention that one because people go, law of sacrifice. And what that is letting go of the lesser to experience the greater. And there's a balance there. And that's when, as opposed to gravity, when you're sitting there making those decisions. And then the other thing that you said was my number one key to the work that I do is notice your thoughts. Notice your thoughts. And you said that you have to notice where you're doing. And I even have tools and tricks for people to stop in the moment. I have people put things in their phone to pause them to say, oh, what are my thoughts right now? It's a muscle that we have to train, just like you train for a marathon,
mhm,
and to really begin our thinking. One of the things I was going to start by saying in this talk that I was going to do today is that most people know that our thoughts, or the people that I hang out with at least, know that or have heard that our thoughts create our experience, yet their life doesn't reflect it. And so I know they know about it. They don't know it. They haven't embodied it, because it's that thing that I just mentioned about the exercise, the building the muscle of noticing your thoughts and then choosing your thoughts. So that's kind of my antidote to what you were talking about.
I really appreciate that, because I it's not just gravity. Like, yeah, absolutely gravity. I totally feel that one. That one cracked me up. Well done. um, but also inertia.
Mhm.
That's the other one that, like, and I'm so glad you said it, because like I have come back to that place like at least 15 or 20 times, and I always forget. And then it's like, oh yeah, like inertia. I have been sitting here on this couch building inertia to sit here on this couch,
Mhm. Mhm.
instead of being up cleaning, building inertia to keep cleaning and moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or to let go of inertia in order to access your true energy, your true sense. And it's always about separation. It's about separating yourself from your spark inside. It's about forgetting who you are. I mean,
Mhm.
downtime is good. Self-care is really important, right? So it may be
Yes.
about self-care, but most of us, it's just about not being conscious, not paying
Yeah,
it.
Mhm.
it's noticing when like that sitting around, it shifts from feeling good to feeling bad.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
catching that shift and
Mhm.
recognizing, oh, this doesn't feel good to be here anymore. It's time to get
Right.
up and move somewhere else. Yeah.
Mhm. Instead of
Yeah.
just checking out.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Which is like,
Right.
it's so easy to just check out.
especially in
It,
Hawaii, right?
well, I think that's the difference between escaping and adventuring. Adventure, it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you can go on vacation to you could go to Hawaii and have a really bad time and just be really grumpy and angry the whole time, or you can go to like Siberia, Russia, and have the time of your life. It's like it's and I think like what you're saying is like it's noticing when you don't want to notice. It's like choosing to be aware, and it's like and I think where I've struggled is where I make myself wrong. It's like, see, you have 300 messages that you haven't responded to. You have, this that you said you were going to do. And, part of me is just like, well, I just want to shrink and just disappear, like, disappear from having to do anything right now. But it's like, but then I'll feel bad and I'll feel shame about that. And then I'll be like, well, I didn't, I said I was going to do this and I didn't do it. And then I will focus on the guilt and the shame rather
Exactly.
rather than the thing that is just would actually avoid, like a 10-minute call or even a 2-minute message. I could
Yeah.
have solved everything.
Or you could have solved everything by just not going down the shame road, just going, "Oh,
Hmm.
well, this is where I'm at right now."
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like short circuit that whole process
Yeah. And
as
and
soon as you notice it.
that's really what the story that I'm going to share is the very first story. It's like the intro to my book called The Flying Leap. And it really talks about, first of all, how we have to build that muscle and what it can do when we get in charge of our thinking and really
Mm,
start learning to use it intentionally rather than by default.
well, are you ready to jump into that?
Sure. Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Christy, thank you for being here. The stage is now yours.
Okay. Thanks. So, this is actually my second kind of transformation in my life. I have another story about how I really awakened to this work and this thinking that I do. But what's really powerful about this one is this was the transformation when I really shifted from being a victim and blaming things outside of myself to really starting to take responsibility for myself and and uh, and living my fullest life, my best life. So I had through this work of learning how it is really about how to, uh, as we were just talking, strengthen the muscle of knowing our thoughts, paying attention to our thoughts, and then making choice in the thoughts that we're making. And I had a lot of physical challenges. I had had a ski accident and had that led eventually to years later having a knee replacement and things like that. And with that, I put on a lot of weight, and then, the aches and pains and everything. And um, then I came into this work in a deep level as I was being trained to be a life mastery consultant, for one thing. And I'm also an art therapist as well. But I was doing those things kind of in tandem. And what I, what I, what I started realizing is just what we were talking about, the power of our thought. Thoreau said, stand guard at the portal of your mind, right? Don't let any thoughts cross your mind that you don't want to create, right? And mine is, I always say, and don't let it cross your mouth either. Don't say it, don't speak it, right? Because that makes it even more powerful to come true. So now, a lot of people have heard this, but how do you create it and live it in your life? Well, so I had been practicing this, paying attention when my body aches or something like this, then, really changing my thinking in that moment, right? I can know when I wake up in the morning and do my meditations and my affirmations and stuff, I can know that then. But I was just listening to an interview I'd done with somebody else way back when my son was 16. He's now 24. And they said, can you stay in this frame of mind with being a mother of a teenager? And I'm like, no. So how do you catch yourself in those moments? And that's what this story, The Flying Leap, is about. So I was actually at the training of becoming a life mastery consultant, and I'm jumping around on my screen here, and I was really pushed up against my new life, my new becoming, my new awareness. And of course, all the old habits. What happens when you start to change a habit is that the old habits want you to come back. They want to save their life. And so all kinds of things came up to like say, oh no, Christy, go back to your old way of life. And that doesn't really mean anything. And we sat down. There was different trainings, and we sat down in this one with this gentleman that I really respected and everything. And he was talking about building your business and empowering other people through speaking. And I just went, I'm not a speaker. I don't speak in front of people. I'm not a public speaker. I'm going to do all my stuff on the internet, and I'm going to build my business on the internet. He just kind of looked at me and raised his eyebrows at me and said, oh yeah, sure. So we're going along in the seminar, and I actually ended up having breakfast with him the next morning, and he tells some other empowering story that I went, oh, he's trying to tell me something here. There's something about this story I'm telling myself that isn't true. And so then it was the last day of the training, and we were having an ending ceremony, and we were in the hotel suite, and there was these big windows that looked out over the ocean. And um, and we were supposed to walk down the stairs and then walk to the window, and then there was going to be some kind of ceremony as we were looking out on the windows. And I was kind of standing towards the back, and I could feel myself kind of struggling with my old thoughts and my thinking, and what did this gentleman have, what was his point, and what did he do? And I'm just kind of really in this, and I really wanted to be in the sacred moment and everything. And we get up to the top of the stairs, and um, and it's him standing there taking my hand to help me navigate the stairs. And as he did that, I caught his eyes, and in my mind, I knew I had told a lie about myself, that I wasn't a speaker, that I didn't have value to bring to people in this way. And that thought. And as a consequence, or as a result, I missed the first step. And I went flying into this room. Now, I was at least 8 feet above the floor that I was going to land on. And I start flying. And of course, there's a lot of, I'd been through the knee thing, and I've been through lots of aches and pains. And I'm like going, oh no. And then I went, no, change your thinking right now. Mid-air, I said, I am well. I am well. And I got that because I had been practicing being the thinking that I wanted to create, right? So splat, I hit the ground. The whole room, of course, turned and looked at me. And actually, on both sides of me were two medical professionals. And they both looked at me. And one of them later told me, she said she thought I'd completely smashed my face. The other one said she had thought I broke legs, limbs, and my whole body. And it was a 911 moment, right? And I lay on the ground, I'm spread eagle on the ground, and I go, oh, I am well. And then I start to move and I start feeling my body in pain. And I go, no, I am well. And I kept coming back to that knowing thought. I kept coming back to knowing that I am well. And eventually I sat up and, I had a great, interesting encounter with the mentor that I was working with at the time and everything. But I realized that through the work that I had been doing, that I had been able to change my experience. I feel like it was a molecular shift when I shifted from, oh no, midair in a split second to I am well, and then to continue to return that. And even when I started to feel aches and pains, I am well. And so, as we were at a hotel and everything, and they called up the peeps and they wanted me to go see somebody and everything. I had a little bit of sore ankle. When I went home, I went to see my doctor just to check out everything. And he says, you might have an itty bitty little sprained ankle, but you are well. Right. And so Wayne Dyer had a great, his work teaches about this idea of what do you get? How does it go? Oh, what's in, oh gosh, I say this over and over again. What do you get when you um, open a can of orange juice? You get oranges, right? So you can get my book and see how it's said better. But the idea is that you have to get it inside of you in order to be able to come from that thinking, from that modality of I am well. I was back and forth, and I sometimes joke that it's like sometimes I was oranges and sometimes I was apples, right? No, coming back to I am well. I had it in me. And so I was able to move forward in changing my thought midair. And then I experienced the result of that in my well being. And so, one of the things that I think we can all do, and Abram mentioned this, I know that we can do the number one and only thing that we can do to really make a lasting change in this world is our thought. What are you willing to let cross the mind of the threshold of your mind? Right. And so even, when I work with my clients and everything, and something is working against them or they are struggle, anytime we feel that, we are actually in separation from our true nature. And so you can say, what is a truth that I can speak here? Now, I did this practice one time of I realized that I was kind of feeling some financial strain, and I'm like, how do I make a shift in this financial strain that I'm experiencing? And of course, I've had this I am well experience, and so I took the whole concept of I am well and I put it on to the idea of abundance. And I went, well, if I'm well, then I'm abundant. If I am whole, there is no lack. And I had this amazing experience happen where I was getting ready to go do another training. I'd put a deposit on it. It was this really, like, I just really wanted to be there, and I didn't have the rest of the money to do this, right? And so I'm overlaying I am well, I am abundant. That same vibrational frequency onto that thought. And I get a phone call from somebody who knew I was going, said, you know what? I believe in you so much. I want to pay your way to the rest of your way to this training. And I just went, yes, this works. This works. And And so then, I move along in life and I'm going, oh gosh, now I'm going to have to meet somebody's expectations. They're going to expect something from me. What's going on? And I get a text from this person. Oops, I lost my funding. I can't do this for you. Right immediately as I'm thinking this. Can you believe this? And and then I went, "Oh my gosh, I better get back to my abundant thinking and letting the I am well frequency come into that so that I can move forward and go to this training." 10 minutes later, oh, I found another source. And I was funded by that same person, proportional to my thinking. Now, I had somebody ask me one time, so how long does this take? Well, it didn't take long in those situations because of the practice that I had done, because of the work that I had done, because I had built the muscle of paying attention to my thoughts, then choosing the thoughts that I want to make, and then turning those thoughts around and then practicing them. It's not just a one time, I've changed it. Okay, so I have a program called How to Change a Habit in 21 Days. And the first thing I say is, this is 21 days worth of tools of how to change a habit. It takes repetition, 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 repetition. So, um, but the more you practice that, the more easily you can jump into that. So, the question is today, why wait? Why not today? Think about the thoughts that you're letting cross the threshold of your mind and ask yourself, what can I do today to create the world that I want to live in? And start practicing that, practicing that, practicing that until you have the muscle strength and the muscle memory to make your thoughts. And that is what we can each individually do to change the world. Have that unique thought towards that you want to create. And don't let anything else cross the threshold of your thinking. Now, I had a gentleman one time, he loved telling the story about the heart attack that he had. Wow, I had a heart attack and it was la 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 la. One day I looked at him, I said, do not ever tell that story again. And I said, unless you want to create another heart attack, right? And he gulped and he went, whoop. And 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 so the next time I saw him, I would go up and do a speaking gig up at this place about every quarter. And next time I came up, he says, I don't tell that story anymore. And that's awesome. That's great. And then the next time I came up, he says, well, I do tell the story, but it's only when it really helps other people. And there was the shift, right? Now the story has become the thought that will help somebody midair change their thinking. So I do have my book. It's called Beyond the Box. And I do have an offering, a free gift for you that these wonderful gentlemen are going to put in the link for you. You can get a free copy of the digital copy of this by going to this ebook link. It's my free gift to you. And if you would like to get a copy that I will sign, I'll send it to you. And this time it's free of postage if you say pick up from Christi. You still make sure you put your address in and I will ship you free of postage the actual book. This book goes through design what you want to create, critique what you want to let go of, and create that life that you love. And it's in 3 parts and it's step by step and has lots of great guides and so forth. It's really my masterpiece that I've brought into the world to share with you. So how about that? Okay. I could talk more, but
Wow. Thank you so much, Christi, for sharing. And I just acknowledge you for just the powerhouse you are of light. Like you were like the person, like everyone could be sad in a room and you just would bring you lift up the energy just by your speaking and your listening. You just listen, it doesn't matter what's like, just I love that I am well. It's so simple, but it's like whenever we forget we have that choice is when we've already lost the battle, when we just accept those first thoughts of it's
Mhm.
like, and like it kind of made me something in my, in my space, like because I totally relate with your story about like being a victim. A lot of my life I was at the effect of a passenger and at the effect, and I had a lot of language, just things that I would say to myself under my breath or just in my mind, just without, and in my mind it was like they're just words, they don't mean it, like they don't mean anything, but I'm just saying, like, my life sucks, or F my life, or and like where I just say that, and like, but what I love what you're doing, how you reframe that, and one time I caught myself, like, because it's like an old, like those things are like old
That's it.
triggers. It's like
Catching
old
yourself.
triggers.
That's it. Yes.
Well, one time I caught myself, but I actually, like, and it was like kind of a moment of improvisation where I actually spun it around, and it kind of caught my identity off guard, where I laughed, where I was like,
Mhm.
I think I said something like, like I was like saying F my life, but I was like, F my life is amazing. And it was like, whoa. It's like where I like just it flipped
Yeah.
it, where it was
Yeah.
like, and it's like we don't recognize those things that we say to ourselves when we are, whenever like a thought of like anger, resentment, fear, depression, you name it, any really
Mhm.
emotion that brings in a negative or a suffering sensation, we get to say what that means. We could say
If
like,
we pay attention, yeah. And
yeah,
so a lot of that lives in the subconscious, and we don't even know it's running us all the time. And those words just come out flying. And also talking in the book and about my life story, I use image as an art therapist and as an intuitive artist as well. I use image to help bring that subconscious to the surface in order for people to be aware of it and change it and things like that. So we have to find the tools to bring the subconscious, and you only need to practice it a few times. It's actually the muscle thing again, is like, oh look, I caught myself in that thought. I do this model of like, there's hindsight, oh look, I did that again. And then there's that peripheral vision, and you go, oh look, I'm doing that right now, I'm still doing it, but I'm noticing it. And a lot of people will go, see, I'll never get through it. And what I
yeah.
tell people to do, celebrate it. Celebrate that moment of awareness and go, well, I'm still doing it, but at least I'm noticing it, because that's the only way I'm ever going to get out here and be able to shake my finger at it and say, you're not getting me this time.
I love it because you can when you interrupt it,
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah.
I think that there's like the two steps of it. It's like the noticing, and then there's what we make it mean about it's like, man, I'm terrible. Like it's like, man, I do that, and then that's when the shame cycle can start.
Exactly.
But it's
Yeah.
like, yay, I'm really angry now. Yay, I'm having a breakdown.
Yes.
It's
But
like
I'm
Happy New Year.
noticing it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, because it's that complaint, or
That is
that's
the
the
first,
opportunity.
that's the first thing we have to learn to do this work, is really to start noticing that.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that to me is, like, it doesn't matter when you notice it. Like, time isn't relevant in this. You can catch it 4 months down the road. You can be
Mhm.
looking back in a memory and going, oh,
Oh,
that
yeah.
happened then.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you caught it. Like, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Next time you catch it, maybe it's only 2 weeks after. Next time you catch it, maybe it's only a day. And
Oh,
then
Matthew, yes.
eventually, like, it's like you're catching it as it's happening, and then you can catch it before it happens.
Yeah, and that's the
when the magic
foresight.
starts.
Exactly. So
Yes.
hindsight, peripheral vision, foresight. You're not
Yes,
going to get me this
exactly.
time.
And it is that simple. It's just like Thoreau said, guard the portal to your mind. And
Yes.
that's what it is. It's paying attention to the thoughts that come up and catching them, and
Mhm.
like learning to catch them in the moment. And that's the practice.
And not
And
making them wrong.
right.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you
Yeah.
apply that to the world in general. And that's where it comes down
Yes.
to the work that you guys are doing. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. You don't need to know how to do it. You just need to know how to vision it, dream it, be it. First of all, create that frequency right there of seeing a beautiful world. I had somebody come to my door one time uh, with a petition, and he said, oh, just sign it. And I said, no, I'm not going to just sign it. I said, first of all, I'm a micro person. I can work person to person, bigger than the bigger vision. And I depend on people like you guys, to do the bigger vision, find your strength. But the whole idea still in that was like integrity as well in it, like how do, and the work you guys do, it's like today's the day. um, I have 5 tools. I'm not going to go through them today. They are in the book, but the last one is there good in it for others? Questions you can ask about your actions, your decisions, the thing. Is there good in it for others? And a lot of people think, well, being in a relationship or taking self-care for myself, that doesn't have good in it for others. I will tell you that is so not true, because first of all, without self-care, you would not be here to support other people. But when you see somebody that's out there in love, and they're feeling it together, that energy, if you take it in instead of going, oh, I wish I had that, think about the turnaround in that thought. And it's called a turnaround, actually, to work on changing your thinking, because it's
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
it's for everybody. If you have that positive energy, like you said, when I walk into a room, I just had my birthday in December, and my girlfriends took me out for lunch, and one of them said, "You are the joy and play person." It's like that's what you do in the world, and I love that, because that's who I've been since I was a little girl. So yeah.
It's beautiful
So
because you choose that in every moment, and I can feel it. And like even before we started, I was like, I've been feeling a little under the weather. I'm like, it's a new year. I'm like, hadn't been in the headspace. Like we're getting started, and then you showed up, and it was like, oh, we're getting started, and it was like, but like but it's a reminder, and like and it's like again, I acknowledge you because you're standing in that today, and in every space you exist, and it's a reminder that we all can. It's like,
Yes.
it's that we all have that ability to bring that light in whatever shape or form. It could be a painting, it could be a poem, it could be running for office, it could
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
anything.
And that's the one thing we can do to make a lasting change. Choose
Mhm.
how you think about anyone, anything, any experience, and just ask the question. Well, here's a statement: to be for something and against nothing. How can I be
Mm.
for something and against nothing? You don't have to be for that thing, but you shift your thinking to what can I be for in this situation and against nothing. My son, when he was first getting to drive the car, and we asked him to go to the store. That's the payment, right? And he was upset that he had to go. And I hear this crash outside our driveway, and he comes running, and he goes, "I can't believe it, la 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 la." And so I actually have this tool I use. And it's in the book too. It's a thermostat, like to think about what is the vibrational frequency of your thinking. And he grew up using this,
Mm.
right? So I said, "What is your thinking?" It's 0 to 100. And he goes, -40. And I go, "Okay, that's all right. We'll work with that." And I said, "Okay, what would you be willing to move it to?" So I didn't ask him what are the new thoughts, right? I said, "What are you willing to move it to?" And he said, 20. And I usually try to get people up to 60 or 80 or something. I go, "Okay, I can work with that." And so I said, "So at that 20% vibration, what's a new thought or frequency?" Right? And he hoes and he hums. He looks at me. I said, "I don't know. I don't have your answer." And then all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, I can learn from my experience." Wow, right? And then come to learn that he was mad at the other guy. Here's being a victim, right? He was mad at the other guy because he had parked in front of our house. He hit a parked car. And it
Ay,
was
ay,
the
ay,
parked
ay, ay, ay,
car's
ay.
fault.
That's and
So
like that's such a beautiful example too, because like it's there's this I don't know where it actually comes from, but I know it's ingrained pretty well in our society, this victim mentality, that
mhm.
it's never our fault.
Chapter
When
7.
Yeah, let's bring it on. So like, and I know you're running short of time. I know you have another phone call here coming up in just a minute, but um I have been consistently amazed at the power I have over my own life.
Mhm.
Like consistently amazed. Like that story that you told about falling off the stairs and like just switching your thinking mid thought to "I am well." Like it resonated so much, and it takes me back to like I don't get infections. I don't get like I'll get cuts, and I've been in like some of the worst like nastiest water in the world with open wounds, and like everyone's like you should clean that up. You're gonna like I don't get infections.
Mhm.
I just don't. And I hold that, and I know that, and I don't get infections. It never happened, and it's never gonna happen. Um, and like, but like we can even take that one step further. It's not just the power I have over my own body. Like I've actually one of the things that the Hawaiians used to do in the old priest and priestess schools is they would have cloud battles, and there would be one person that was trying to generate clouds, and another person that was trying to dissipate the clouds. And so I've played with that, and it totally works. Like it's not that hard to do actually if you can just hold the vision, and like
Mhm.
that's the key. Like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, hold the vision, change your thoughts, and be aware of what's going
Mhm.
on. I have yet to like actually play with that much further. I manifest things in my life quite a bit, but like I'm just getting to this place now where there's a vision that I feel is worth manifesting, and so like it's just been in the last 3 to 6 months that I've really started like clarifying this vision, holding it down, and actually putting it out
Yum,
there.
yum, yum.
Yeah, and now I'm like in that part of okay, well let's see what happens next. Let's see how this is going to manifest because I don't know, but I know that it will.
Okay, so here instead of ask, the big how do I do this, just ask what's a step that I can take
Ex-
in the direction of. Because the
Yes.
how is the thing that stops most people in following their dream. And really, I always use this idea we have a pea sized brain, and that we're trying to fit like these big amazing visions through when there's this infinite universal law out there, right? So we don't want to say how, we want to leave that up to the bigger picture. We want to say what's my step in the direction of that vision and that dream. And sometimes I even say to people, clean out a drawer, you know. So, and I tell you, I make major shifts
Yeah.
when I clean up a drawer or clean something out. So, yeah, I do have to jet. I have to leave. So, I would love to come back. If people want to contact me, they can find me at masteringtheartoflife.com. That's what I do is I'm a master of the art of life. And of course, the links are up there for you to, if you want to download the book or purchase the book. So, Abram and Matthew, this was so much fun. I hope I get to come back again.
Oh, thank you so
We will
much,
be
Christy.
happy to have you back.
Yeah.
I loved having you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your stories, and your bundle of light and love. And it's great to just have you. And yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. And I just honor you and just so grateful for you to be here. So thank
Thank
you,
you.
Christy.
Thank you. I'm very grateful also. There we go.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
Thanks, Christy.
Aloha.
Bye. Aloha. Ciao.
Ciao.
Corradi, right? My husband's Italian, so I do have a trip going to Italy in April. So
Ooh,
Oh,
I love
a group
Rome's one
trip.
of my favorite cities. I love Italy.
Yeah, we're going to
Thank
the
you.
north actually. So
Oh,
yeah.
up to the
that sounds
mountains.
lovely.
No, to the
Yeah.
coast, to the Ligurian coast. It's actually near. It's where my husband's family's from, and it's called La Dolce Vita, and we're actually going, and we'll have experiences with the local his family and things like that. We'll be cooking in their home and things like that, and just experiencing how to create La Dolce Vita there, so you can bring it home with you. So anyway, you guys, I gotta run. Take care.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye bye,
Christy. Be
Chrissy. Thank you
well.
again.
Bye.
Thanks, Christy, and thank you all for tuning in with us. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have this space to just have people like Christy sharing, what they're up to, and it's refreshing and a reminder that no matter what you've been through in your life, whatever you were experiencing right now, there's always a place to grow, but there's also always a place to lift someone else up who's dealing with what we were dealing with, like our experiences over what we faced is the bridge that we can be for someone else, and we have a choice every moment, and that's why what inspires me is like what's possible when we're all standing there, and we're living in a world where we create from contributing to lifting each other and thus ourselves up. And there's so many beautiful things that are yet to be discovered. And I want to invite you now to be a part of this virtual stage. If you'd like to share your gift and your story, click the link on the screen. This is a space for you to share you and the truest you, and the you that gets lit up when like Christy does when she's doing what her dreams are, and she's manifesting her dreams. And we want to hear about what you're up to. So, and now I just want to thank you all for being here. And part of what we do at One Day, and I'll share what our mission is bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And our vision here at One Day is humanity's rising in a connected world, with each person's unique gifts and genius being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all. Happy New Year. Be safe, be well, and we will see you all next week. One day is today.